And the first game is actually Cat in the Box, which we have just been talking about. Cat in the Box was a much anticipated release by Bezier Games. It is a remake of a game that already existed called Cat in the Box, but this has been deluxeified and kind of given new illustrations.
Yeah, very cool illustrations. Yeah. I really like the aesthetic of this.
I really like the art, and I love actually the components of it too. Everything feels really premium. They've done a really nice job of creating like a deluxe edition of what is really just quite a small card game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the box is, it's not like deluxe for the sake of being deluxe. Everything fits in here really nicely, and everything that has been deluxeified actually really adds to the game. It's not just because we wanted to bloat out the game or anything like that.
The board itself, because you've got the little board where you put the little tokens, the tokens which you're handling a fair bit. Like, very well thought through.
Yeah, so let's talk about how it works. So the main appeal of this game is that it is a trick-taking game where your cards have no suits. And think about what that means. The cards are all black and they do not relate to any suit whatsoever. So they are just black cards that have numbers on them. And what you're going to be doing on your turn is you are going to be assigning these cards to a suit. And you're going to be doing that by placing them along one of the edges of a little player cardboard marker that you have that has 4 colors around the outside. And so you'll place that numbered card on one of the sides and declare that that card now belongs to that suit. Yeah. Once you've done that, you will take one of your player markers, and on the beautiful little double layered board that's included, you will mark off that suit and that number, because in this game you can only, in every round, you can only use each card and each number once, just as if it was the only card in the deck. And so what you're going to be doing is, as the rounds go on and we're playing just trick after trick after trick, those numbers are going to fill up. And soon you'll be facing a bit of a dilemma with the cards in your hand that you may not be able to place a card in the suit for the trick. So, for example, Maggie might play a 4 and declare it as a blue, but when I look at the board, I can see that there's no other slots available for blue, or the only slots that are available are for numbers that I don't have in my hand, which means I'm not able to play a winning card. However, red in this game is a trump suit, so that always opens up your options a little more. But for the most part, what you're trying to do is you're trying to be able to play out all of the cards in your hand, because if you experience not being able to place a card of a suit or of any card in your hand,
you get stuck. Yeah.
I should say, you don't have to follow suit in this game.
No.
So it is the case that, you can keep playing cards of different suits, but what's really interesting is when you don't follow suit. So if Maggie plays a blue 4 and I play a yellow 5, I can no longer play blue cards for the rest of that round. And that is another super interesting component. And what I will do is I'll mark that on my player board, showing that I can no longer play blue cards. And therefore that restricts even further the places that I'm able to go on that board. And now coming back to what happens when you have no card that you can play, you cause what's called a paradox in this game. And when you cause the paradox, the round ends, like the game kind of ends at that point, or the round, sorry.
The round, yeah.
If you're the one that caused the paradox, you are going to get -1 victory point for every trick that you've won in that round.
Yeah.
So you do not want to be the person causing the paradox.
Yeah.
And it is possible for a round to be complete and everyone be able to place every card. But with the numbers, there are 4 of every number on the board, but there are 5 cards in the deck of that number, which means that there is quite a high risk that a paradox might occur. So you've got to be really careful in the order and the way you play the cards in your hand. And so it just creates the feeling of this game is both how do I win this trick? But also, how am I going to play out the rest of my hand, as with all good trick-taking games? Because you're looking at the board and you're thinking, wow, I could really get blocked out of playing this one. Or, you know, it could be that, like, one of the colors is filling up and I'm not going to be able to win the trick that I really want to win. But the other thing that's really interesting is the bonus scoring in this game, which I haven't even spoken about, because at the start of every round, you are going to bet or kind of gamble on how many tricks you're going to win. So you might say, I think this is a great hand of cards. I've got lots of high numbers, so I'm going to win 4 tricks. If you manage to win 4 tricks, you are going to be able to get some bonus points. And the bonus points that you're going to get are for the adjacencies of your player tokens on that player board. So there's another layer where you're thinking about, I don't want to do the paradox.
I don't want to cause it. Cause the paradox.
I want to win a certain number of tricks. And I want to do that so I can score for the adjacencies on the player board, which means I should probably go there to link up my player pieces instead of playing that number that I want to win the trick. And so there's a lot of layers here. And that's why I think this game is getting, you know, such good reviews from people.
I really enjoy this game. And granted, I love trick-taking games in general, but just that added sort of element of you can see the colors and the numbers that have already been claimed, and then all of a sudden you see, you know, that there in those 4 colors I have a 4, and you know 3 out of those 4s have been claimed, and then someone goes, puts a 4 in the red, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna cause this paradox, oh no. And so you're just hoping and praying that someone else will cause the paradox first. And so like I just really I think it's so clever. It's
really clever. And because there's all those layers, but the rules overhead is very, very
light.
simple. It's not hard to teach at all. It takes, 5 to 10 minutes to teach.
I don't quite, obviously, it's not meant to be a highly thematic experience, but I was trying to figure out why use the cat in the box, the paradox. I think it's Straw. I can't remember the name of the physicist. But because it's all like the cat in the box paradox is all about, when you have a cat in the box, it was that like the mental exercise, or almost like a philosophy version of it, where it's like if you put a substance that could, harm the cat or kill the cat, like before you open the box, the cat is both dead and alive, and it's not until you actually open it that it gets realized. So it was all these layers of physics and about quantum physics. And I have no idea how that connects to this game. I don't even know what aside from it just having cats. So please, in the comments, if you can,
maybe explain that one to us.
Explain the link.
Cat in the box, and it does have a subtitle that is quantum trick taking.
Well, because you're triggering the paradox of no, this is impossible, but it's I don't quite understand how those two link.
Do you know, it wasn't until you started this line of conversation
that you realized
that it had even occurred to me of why it's called quantum trick taking game. I feel like I just see things.
Schrödinger's paradox, I think it is.
I just read these things and I just say, okay, that's
a black
that's
cat
what it is,
and it's in a box.
That's what it is.
It's a cat in the box.
I
paradox.
don't question the theme. Anyway,
I want to understand. I seek to understand. But so if you can explain it, why this theme makes sense based on the mechanics, then I would very greatly appreciate that.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about with this game is the 2-player variant. So you can play it at 2 players. It's actually it's a 3 to 5 player game at its core, but then there's a 2-player variant. And I found the 2-player variant less interesting. Trick-taking games generally are better with a bigger group. But the way that it works is it kind of removes the part where you are trying to guess how many tricks you're going to win. And I missed that dynamic in the 2-player game because it gave me something to aim for in terms of how many tricks I was going to win. I really liked that. and the interaction that has with scoring the bonuses.
Well, now, yeah, because then what it does is it simplifies it to if you win 4 tricks or less, then you get to score that bonus, but you're not having to guess how many you're going to win. So yeah, I thought. I mean, I agree with you that is a fun little element when you're like, oh no, I'm not gonna make it. I've guessed this many and I'm gonna win an extra one, or I'm not gonna win enough. I do miss that, but it is a small element. So I still quite enjoyed it at the 2
Yeah, I
player
like
count.
it. It's just not a game that I would get out if there were like 2 people. If there was just the 2 of us, like there are other probably better 2-player trick-taking games. I do like the simplicity of how blocking extra spaces on the board works. We reduce the number of cards in the deck, but also there's a bit of a randomization of pulling out other numbers that will be blocked. So that was quite clever. But overall, really love this game. I'm looking forward to playing it even more with a bigger group of people
like
all of the time.
It's something that will just come with us to a lot of cons and game days.
It's really great. And that is Cat in the Box Quantum Trick-Taking Game.